Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers and to our review of a unique looking shoe from Merrell. This is the new Merrell MTL Adapt Matryx. It's a slightly wild looking max stack trail shoe that's been designed with 50k and 100 mile ultras in mind. We've logged the requisite test miles and we are now here with our verdict on whether this beast really is built to go long. So let's get into it. First up, some quick details though, starting with the stack height. And what you've got here is a 36mm on the heel, 30mm in the forefoot for a 6mm drop. It weighs in at 300 grams or 10.6 ounces in my UK men's 8.5 or US 9 test shoe. On price, this little puppy is going to set you back £170 in the UK or $180 in the US. That's kind of getting up there when you're talking about the price for trail shoes. Moving on to a quick shoe whip round then, and what you've got here is a max stack trail shoe that uses Merrell's FloatPro Plus foam. That's been designed with a soft core for comfort, firmer sidewalls though to bring stability and responsiveness. It's a big old stack here. Up top you've got a single layer matrix upper that has Kevlar thread and some polyamide in there for uppers that shoot for that magic combo of being lightweight, breathable and durable. There's a mesh lining in here as well to try and help keep the foot cool and dry. Got big padded heel collars. Got an elastic lace keeper as well that helps secure those laces out of the way. Got some 3D printed TPU overlays in these big wear zones. A bit of extra protection, beef up the durability. When you flip them over, you've got a Vibram Mega Grip outsole with 4mm rubber lugs here. Those come in quite an interesting pattern. You can see the sort of ridges cut into the shoe as well that I'm pretty sure helps with the overall kind of flex of the shoe as you run. Quick word on fit then, and I ran in a UK 8.5, which is actually a Merrell US 9, and I think that normally I would run in an 8.5 in Merrell's. I did that in the Agility Peak 5, I did it in the Moreflight. This shoe's come out very different though, and it does feel a bit cramped. There's across the toe box not a huge amount of room. You've got a bit of structure here which sort of keeps the tops off the top of the toes, but I'm still sort of butting up a bit here, a bit too much. There's not enough room at the end of the toe box. And as you move back into the shoe, everything across the midfoot section is quite cramped. I sort of feel that squishing of my little toe up against its neighbour here, which is okay for shorter runs, but because it creates a kind of locked in feel. But for longer stuff, if you were going to go ultra anything in the shoe, I think that would become a problem. The other thing to say is back here, I do get really good hold across the midfoot. That's unsurprising for a snug shoe in this fit. The flat wrapping tongues, good coverage, good hold, no moving around. Take off the lace pinch, back into these big padded heel collars, and they held very well. The heel does come up a little bit high. I didn't have any rubbing initially in the Achilles there. Don't know how that's going to cope when you're sort of on steeper downhills where maybe you're going to get a little bit of extra kind of roll in from that heel collar. But overall, those held well as well. But I think definitely I would recommend, for me anyway, I think I'm going to have to go half a size up at least in these shoes to create a bit more room towards the end of this toe box and around this kind of little toe area and across that midfoot section.
So the fit for me in the MTL Adapt Matryx, I'm a size 8 in the UK, this is a size 8. Found it to be a very comfortable shoe, but there's not a load of space before my big toe. Definitely not as much as I would normally expect in a shoe in my UK size 8. And it's also a shoe designed for long distance training as well. So you've probably got to expect a certain level of the feet swelling up a little bit out on the trails. So I'd probably suggest going half a size up in this shoe. I've not had any problems with it. I just did a 24-kilometre run in it today and I was fine. But I do think if you're doing lots of downhills, lots of declines, you might notice that space at the end of the shoe probably needing half a size more. The rest of the shoe is really, really comfortable. There's not loads of padding around the shoe. It's quite a big shoe, so I'm assuming that they've probably minimised the amount of padding to keep the weight down a bit. But to be honest, it feels really, really comfy. This is a very, very comfortable shoe, and I've had no issues in about 60k of running that I've done in it so far. The tongue on it is not massively padded either, but it's just enough to be comfortable. So I think they've got the balance right with this shoe. I would probably say go up half a size, but it is a very comfortable shoe, and I very much enjoy testing it. So this is a funny looking shoe. It's when I took it out of the box, I did think, is this going to be a bit gimmicky? It's a shoe that it talks on the website about it being designed for ultras, and I'm always a bit skeptical when there's a shoe that's focused on ultras, because if it's good at ultras and not good at normal trail running, you've probably got to ask yourself some questions. But this shoe is very much a very enjoyable trail shoe. Even though I did think it looks a bit gimmicky when I took it out of the box, I've really loved testing this shoe, and I think there's a lot of really good positive points to it. I've done about 65k in it now, and that's varied from 7k light trail runs around my house to today I went to do a 24k run up on the South Downs with quite a lot of elevation, and it's been great for everything really. I've done a bit of road on it today. There's probably a good 5-6k of road on it. It felt really, really nice at that, and on the trails it felt like it could handle the technical aspects of the rockier terrain, the softer terrain on the fields. It's a really nice all-round trail shoe, to be honest. The only thing it hasn't got is that it is quite a big shoe, so I definitely wouldn't say it's a shoe that would do well if you're looking to go and race in it, or do some sort of fast sessions, fast hill work or anything like that. Definitely a workhorse trail shoe, but it can do a lot. So this midsole foam is it's quite on the road. It feels nice and comfortable. It delivers like a cushioned road shoe, and the outsole lugs as well. They're only 4mm, but the rubber's fairly soft on these as well, so it doesn't massively impact the ride on road surfaces. Sometimes when you run in trail shoes, they can have quite hard rubber on the outside, and it can really impact the enjoyment on the run. But not this one. It felt on those hard road surfaces absolutely fine. I think I could have done 10-20k in it on the road and it would feel absolutely fine. I think that's largely due to that midsole being a little bit softer than what you normally experience in trail shoes. But the other thing as well, it does have these quite big side walls, so your foot is encased inside these side walls, so you do get a nice bit of stability as well. So it balances out the slightly softer, bigger midsole with that stability. So when you're out on the trails, and what I was running on today was a big mixture of hard, muddy, lumpy surfaces, rocky surfaces, the road, as I said, and it can handle all of them really, really well. It's really good at the technical aspects of it, partly because of that stability, but also because it's got a really good outsole on it as well. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic trail shoe. I think it's really, really comfortable. I think it has a nice smooth heel to toe transition. I think it gives you a nice level of stability out on the trails. It doesn't feel like you're losing control. It doesn't feel like your ankles wobbly. I felt like I was in complete control today out on the trails, and it's a very comfortable shoe to wear as well on those road surfaces as well. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this shoe. I think it's just, although the price is quite high for a trail shoe, I think if you can get it cheaper, I know it's already in some sales at the moment from what I've seen by doing a Google search, but it is a great workhorse trail shoe that is very, very comfortable to wear.
Now in testing, I've logged around 45k's in this shoe. I've covered a lot of road to runnable trail, compact forest paths, fields, grass, and a bit of coastal trail as well. I've mixed up the paces, but largely been moving at my ultra or easy pace. And I have to say, like Tom, I had my reservations about what looked like a gimmicky shoe, but I've really enjoyed running in the MTL Adapt. Initially, they felt a bit blocky, everything felt a bit firm, but that really softened up quite quickly, and that big stack of nitrogen infused midsole foam definitely delivers a balanced ride that's cushioned and responsive, but not too soft and soggy. It's somewhere along the lines of like a Hoka Mafate 5. You can really feel the pronounced rocker from the moment you lace them up, and the whole shoe has a smooth sort of road shoe thing going on that really works well for the kind of mixed terrain miles that I ran, where I moved from road to compacted trail onto soft grass and back. It's certainly happy when everything is sort of firm and relatively uncluttered and runnable underfoot. The transitions were nice and smooth. There's a bit of flex on the whole kind of midsole outsole that helps. Despite the big stack, the shoe sort of adapts to what's going on underfoot, what you're hitting with your feet. However, it's a big old shoe. It isn't the most precise on trails where you need to pick your way. This big wide base might not be your best friend when you're running across terrain like that. But for a big old shoe, I was pleasantly surprised by kind of how light this shoe ran when you consider everything that's going on down there. You know, for a 300-gram shoe, it doesn't feel too overbuilt. It's clearly not sprightly. You know, it's not an Agility Peak 5 or a Speed Goat 5, all those kind of shoes. But it's not laboured either when you're moving, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of that Mad Brooks road shoe that eventually translated into the DNA Tune Tech that made its way into the Glycerin Max. And I fully expect to see some of this filter down into Merrell's other shoes. I didn't get to test the grip on anything particularly challenging, and those 4mm lugs might not hold up in trickier conditions. But on the flip of that, for the runnable stuff on the road, they're not sticking you down and holding you back either. The uppers were plenty breathable for me and look to have good durability. I'm not seeing any signs or worrying signs of wear and tear on the outsoles too, and I think these have the hallmarks of a long-lasting, big mileage shoe.
So my verdict on the MTL Adapt Matryx, I think it's a great trail shoe. I think it ticks a lot of boxes. I think it's got the balance right between stability and comfort in that midsole, which you can really feel when you're on different terrains, especially things like road. I've not got many trail shoes that I like running on the road with. Some are fine, but actually this one felt great. I could have ran for a long distance in this shoe. So it's very much a workhorse, comfortable, stable trail shoe, which is just great to plough through the miles in. I did 24k in this today, and it just felt really, really comfortable up to the end. My legs felt really fresh. Lovely heel to toe transition in it. Nice bit of a rolling action to it. Just a great, comfortable shoe. It's not versatile. I wouldn't go out and run any fast hill reps in this or anything like that. It's very much a workhorse designed for comfort, but it does that really, really well. The one thing I would say about it is that it is quite expensive. So in the UK, the 170 price tag is quite a lot for a trail shoe. You don't find many comfortable trail shoes. There are loads of carbon plate trail shoes out now that should cost significantly more than that. But normally with trail shoes, you're sort of looking at that sort of 140, 150 pound mark. So it is a bit more expensive than that. So it might be a bit too expensive for some. I do think it's very good. I do think you're getting a really good shoe with this, but I'd probably say maybe wait until the sales, because for trail shoes that is quite a bit if you're not getting those performance elements in it as well. But I think it's a great shoe. I think it's really, really enjoyable. I can see why it's penned as an ultra shoe, but I don't think you have to run ultras to enjoy it. I just as much had a nice time running a 7-kilometer easy run in these as I probably would doing an ultra. So yeah, all around good, solid, workhorse, comfortable trail shoe. Verdict then, and I didn't really expect to like this shoe. It's kind of wild looking. It looks like it might be a bit gimmicky, but there's a lot that works here for a road to trail cruiser with potential for long hours on your feet. In some ways, it's serving up kind of road shoe energy, except that someone has stuck some 4mm lugs and grip on the bottom to make it trail ready, a bit more durable. The ride is cushioned, it's cruisy, lots of roll through from the rock ring. It just keeps you moving with momentum and delivers, I think, on that ultra long haul comfort, not just from the way the midsole performs, but also from the roomy uppers, provided you size up or half size up. That is crucial here. My regular size, it was all a bit too snug, but when I went to the sort of half size up shoe, that fixed that. I nearly chose this shoe to run the Berlin Wall 100, which is very much a race that hits lots of trails, but can be run in a road shoe. And this is where I think this hits the sweet spot. There's like an ultra here in the UK called the Thames Path 100, where you do 100 miles on a mix of tarmac and compacted trails. It's sometimes wet and chopped up, and I think this is exactly what this shoe can work really well for that kind of outing where you can get away with a road shoe, but you might need trail grip if the weather turns on you. So in that sense, I think there's some versatility here for what you're paying for. Fans of more minimal, nimble shoes might not enjoy this. There is still a lot going on compared to what you might get from shoes like an Asics Gel Trabuco 14 or Merrell's own Agility Peak or a Speed Goat, that kind of thing. And yes, it's quite pricey, not quite kind of North Face Vective Pro pricey or up there with the Adidas Speed Ultra, but it's a chunk over other sort of utility trail shoes, again like the Speed Goat or the Hoka Mafate 5. However, I think this could make a really good option if you're just looking for one trail shoe to cover a lot of your easy miles. And I would definitely kind of think this would be a good shoe for looking after beginner runners who are moving from road to light trail on those early sort of outings. And the other thing I really liked, it's good for walking as well, which, as we all know, is a major part of the ultra experience, kind of unless you're Tom Evans, and that's a big tick in the box. I think this is a really interesting shoe from Merrell, and I have enjoyed running in it. So there you have it. That's been our review of the new Merrell MTL Adapt Matryx. I hope you found it informative. Give us a like if so. If you fancy supporting the channel, give us a subscribe. If you're interested in big, easy trail shoes, I'm popping a video up now that you should check out. Otherwise, thank you very much for stopping by, and until next time, happy running, people.